Hey Zwooper, it's Connor. If you've been keeping up with Bye's latest game, Byevivor Evolution, then you would know that I just made Final 3. And this is my jury speech. Now, Mark has required us to post our jury speeches on Zwooper, so don't call me attention whore quite yet. I do love attention, but this is not for that. This is for the game. And because Mark is a greedy whore for free marketing, but that's none of my business. I'm here to talk about my game and why I think I deserve to win. Alright, so before I start, I didn't rehearse this. This isn't a script. I'm looking over at my outline right now to keep me on track. So if I do stutter or if I do get on irrelevant stuff, feel free to skip. I probably will. This video will probably be very long because I don't know how to shut up. But without further ado, I will begin. So first off, I know I didn't win competitions. In fact, I was probably not a strong competitor in any real round. This isn't because I threw it. I mean, I didn't throw them. I was okay getting power, but I didn't strive or obsess with having that control. You know, I had other forms of influence in the game that I felt were better used for my overall social strategic game. So yes, I know I didn't win a competition, and you can call me a floater for that or whatever, but I'm actually proud of that. The fact that I made it here without winning an immunity or an HOH or something like that, and when I say I didn't win a challenge, I mean individually, so don't pounce on me for that. But I know some people are like, he didn't win some competition, what a floater. But I think that's an amazing feat to make it here without winning a single competition. I think that proves that my social strategic game were up to par to what it needed to be to make it here. It wasn't because I got lucky because I got certain competitions that I was good at. It wasn't because I was able to go on a winning streak. It was because I played my cards correctly. And I think that's worth mentioning. Now, beyond that, my other biggest strength in this game that I feel like was honesty. The two people I lied to are the two people sitting next to me because they threatened to vote me at Final 4 if I didn't flip on Noah, which I didn't, because I said I wouldn't. And I know I wasn't super talkative. I know I wasn't loud. I know I wasn't this big personality. But the one thing that I was is I was honest. You know, when people come to me when they were in trouble and I was like a voter or whatever, and they'd ask me what were my thoughts, I'd give them the honest truth. And if I thought I needed to eliminate them, I would. But it doesn't mean I wouldn't listen to their pleas, because I did change my view based on what people were saying, because I think I'd be stubborn otherwise not to. But if someone asked me verbatim, are you voting me out 3 hours before votes are due, and I would say, yeah, I am. And I'm sorry. And I hope those players respected what I did. But I'm just not into the business of messaging everyone every morning. Good morning, how's your life? Hopefully it has angels and butterflies and rainbows. That's just not me. I'm a dark, depressing person. I don't care for social interaction. So if people mistook my lack of constant checkup on them as a sign of like dislike, please disregard that. That's not me. But anyways, back to what I was saying. I was a quiet player. You know, I didn't boast about my moves in public. I didn't say, ha, got you, to make sure that people knew that I was behind it. I think that's arrogant. But I know some people are like, you didn't claim that credit when it happened, therefore you don't really get to reap the benefits. But the thing is, I have proof of moves that I made not entirely independently, because that's just bullshit, but independently in thought that I succeeded in. And I'll go through a few of them right now. So first off, and the first time I had to vote in the challenge format, I want to say, was when there were 5 people. It was me, CJ, Noah, Phoenix, and Kenny. I had a great bomb from going in, so I knew I wasn't going to vote him. And I knew Phoenix was probably after me. And then I later got confirmed. So I knew I was voting Phoenix, and it became Kenny, CJ, Kenny, CJ. And eventually I ended up on Kenny. Not because I had a better bond with Kenny, honestly, than CJ. But the thing that swayed me to saving CJ was because I knew Kenny was close to Danny, and arguably might choose Noah over me at certain points. And I knew CJ was kind of alone. You know, he told me straight up that you and Noah are the only two people I've talked to, and I knew I was good with Noah. So I was like, hey, why would I get rid of someone like CJ, who's probably going to be a great ally later down the road, and be loyal to me and Noah, than someone who has the capability to flip the script. So I felt really bad about it too, because Kenny did nothing wrong. He didn't deserve to go there either. But my options, I weighed them, and I made a smart, strategic decision, not the emotional one. And that was the first move that set me up for success later on, because lo and behold, CJ was in Final 5, and had he survived one more round in the vote-off, I don't think he would have voted for me. And so that was, it ultimately paid off. The second move that I made was when I somehow or another got third place in the Who Do You Trust the Most competition. And I think that speaks a little bit to my social game. The fact that people were willing to trust me so early into the game says something. But I used the power best I could. I didn't want HBIC because I didn't need to nominate 3 people knowing that 2 of them were going to become right back in the game and could potentially win the next power and take me out. Why would I risk that? So I was like, good luck, Danny and Noah. One of you guys can get it. And they had enemies in the game, so they had every reason to go for it, and I don't blame them. But for me, it would be stupid for me to go out and be so greedy and power hungry that I felt the need to have to win that power. So I laid back, let the nominees happen, and it came down to be Joey, Sky, and Ian. I knew Ian at that point wasn't a threat to me. I didn't think he was after me at that point, and I didn't think he was a huge threat, again, at that point. More on that later. But I knew Sky and Joey were close. I didn't have any problems with either of them, but I knew that A, Joey was going to be targeted long after this round, until he was out. So why would I get rid of a shield, someone like a shield like that, who's going to, you know, keep attention off me later on, over someone like Sky, who's willing to work with anyone? You know, it's amazing. It's pretty remarkable to see a player like that who doesn't stick to their comfort zone in terms of allies. She was willing to work with anyone, anytime, and that's scary because you can't predict their game, and unpredictability is a hard thing to be. If you cannot predict at all what someone's going to do, they can easily get you so fast out of the game. So I said I didn't want Joey out, and to make sure that Joey didn't go, I knew that Danny and I might have to come to a unanimous decision. I know Noah was fine with the decision after it was made, but I really didn't want to put that in Noah's hand. I don't know what Noah would have done, but I know there'd be a lot greater chance for Joey going out by Noah than there would be by Danny and I voting him. So Danny and I talked briefly, and we both agreed that Sky was a bigger threat. And so me taking that matter in my own hands and eliminating Sky without having to force it over on Noah proved that, you know, I have different, you know, there were like 2 tiers in the game. There were those who were like loud and physically dominant and had problems with people that were made public very frequently. And then there were those players who were all under the radar, trying to each position themselves in those conflicts intelligently. Like I think Nime, whatever, myself, Nick, and let's see who else, Tim, were all kind of like that, while like Kevin, Danny, and Noah were all loud. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I didn't focus on the loud players because I knew the loud players weren't going to come after me until all the other loud players were out. So it was kind of there were like 2 different games going on. And so when Danny and I made that decision, that was for me. That wasn't for Noah. And that wasn't for anyone else. And so that set me up later on to be successful. And then after that, the third move was this one. Oh god, this one was rough, but, and it was the first lie I believe I told, was when Danny and Ian, and I don't know if there was someone else on the block at that point, were nominated, and Kevin was literally preaching. He made a chat with Noah and I. He was like, Danny's got to go now. It's final 7, time for him to go. Bye. Or final 8. And I didn't need Danny to go. So Noah came to me, and I think he had the same idea, but he asked me, who do you actually want to leave? And I remember my response, IAN period. And instant reply, yep, same. So we agreed that we would have to make the move. And we did. We eliminated, I don't even know which person didn't vote Ian in the end. But that was, again, for me. Ian had said in the solitary round that he saw Kevin and I as the biggest threats. And although I'm sure he saw Kevin as a bigger threat, if Kevin was immune, I'm in trouble. And I knew Danny had problems with Kevin, and beyond that, I don't think he would have come out. I don't think he viewed me as a threat. And so I said, yeah, I'll keep Danny. And then after it was over, and Kevin saw the result, that Danny was still here, he freaked, understandably. And this is where I think I proved that I had the patience and manner and, I don't know, characteristics to smooth this over. He privately, I mean, publicly, he was like, Noah and Connor are disloyal, other things he said about us. And we were. But then in private, I know I did well smoothing things over. You know, I was apologetic. I think I didn't make the situation any worse, if not better. And it helped me. And I can say that it helped me because in the next round that Kevin went ahead of household after he had just pledged to put Noah and I up, he decided to put up Danny and Noah. Now I don't know how much damage control went between Noah and Kevin, but I think I did it better or had a better bond with Kevin because I stayed unnominated. And he told me that even if the veto was used, I was safe. And I think that's pretty spectacular that I was managed to lie and deceive someone and then have the next round them keep me safe. And I'm sure Kevin has his own reasons for doing it. I'm sure it wasn't just because of me. But I think I helped the situation. I think I had a influence in my being safe regardless for the next round. And then came Final Four, where it was Kevin and Nick, an obvious duo, and me and Noah, an obvious duo. And Kevin and Nick come to me, and they say, hey, we're voting you because we don't think you'll vote Noah, and we want Nick to have a better chance in the tiebreaker, and you're weaker than Noah. So if you don't agree to vote Noah, you're going to go in the tiebreaker. And at first, I freaked, because I didn't think I was going to get fourth place. I thought for sure Nick and Noah would just clash, but instead they're trying to threaten me. And I freaked out, and I lashed out, I'll admit. But then I realized, about 20-30 minutes later, why would Kevin want me out, knowing and admitting that Noah's the bigger jury threat in his eyes? And so I thought about it, and I thought I have one chess move left that's practically unbeatable, and that's to agree to their plan. Because what I'm risking is for them, what they think I'm risking, that is for them to go run to Noah and be like, hey, Connor's actually voting for you. If you want to stay in the game, we'll vote with you. But the thing is, I had told Noah ahead of time, stay calm, I'm not voting you. I mean, I was selfishly keeping myself safe, but I don't think they were ever truly considering voting me. I mean, you'd have to ask them. But I told him, don't freak out. And so that solidified that I wasn't actually risking him voting me. And so I went to them and I said, yeah, we'll do it, totally. And I lied everywhere. I'll admit, it's Final Four. Kevin had just basically told me that he was choosing Nick over me. And so, yeah, I didn't really feel like I owed anything to them. And so I lied. And then Nick blatantly, I did come after Nick blatantly saying that he was going to win in the end to see if I could convince Kevin, which I couldn't. And then at Tribal Council, which I was asleep for, Nick was throwing out all these things about me. And saying how I had a large amount of control throughout the game, how I basically went unnominated in a sense, and how I like to say, scammed my way to the end. But then the votes came out, and I'm still sitting here with 0 votes. And I think that's pretty impressive. I mean, Noah might have just been a bigger threat than me to them, and that's fine. But the fact that there were 3 options, and 2 got 2 votes, and went to a tiebreaker challenge while I was safe, I think that says something about my game. Even though it was basically 2 against 2, and I wasn't immune, I stayed safe. But then Noah went, and I sit here in the final 3, and that's basically my strategic outlook on the game up to this point. Physically, I did well. I mean, like I said, I didn't win any competitions individually, but I stayed alive in the physical rounds. But I don't know what else I can say about that, because I didn't have much input on those games. But yeah, to conclude, all right. So let's see, dun 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 dun. All right, 2 things. Positioning. I made sure, since I know Byevivor Evolution is so unpredictable. All you know is that the next round is going to be a reality TV show. You don't know if it's going to be physical. You don't know if it's going to be strategic. You don't know if it's going to have a bunch of luck into it. All you know is the players that are going to be there, and the fact that another person, or at least one person, is going to get eliminated. So I positioned myself socially, strategically, and physically to make sure I was going to be safe that week. I made sure there were at least 1 person later on and 2 people early on that were weaker than me physically so that I could survive. I made sure socially and strategically I wasn't this big massive threat that if I didn't win immunity I would be out. And I made sure that I would still have control no matter who won. I mean, there are certain people who I won who probably wouldn't take my opinion into consideration, but they wouldn't, twist my words or come after me. And so I think I did that pretty amazingly throughout the whole game. And I think that's 50% of the reason why I'm in the final 3 is positioning, strategic positioning. And lastly, just like to say that to the jury, I think that by voting for me, I know I'm not the favorite. I'll be honest. I know Kevin beasted competitions, and if you respect a physical game, then yeah, maybe you should vote for him. But I feel like this jury played, as a whole, played a lot more strategically and socially. So I'm hoping you guys see what I did and how I was successful in doing so without having to rely on competitions. And I hope you see that as a good thing. If not, so be it. I can't preach a physical game. I didn't have one, really. But I did have control. So if that's what you're looking for in a player, I had that. I voted in the majority every round except for the physical rounds and except for the final 4, which tied. And I was, like Nick said, practically unnominated. I didn't advance in a single elimination process other than by luck in the challenge round, which we had to draw cards. And in the boardroom when my team lost, even though I still got removed from the boardroom within, I don't know, how long was that, 30 minutes, into the 2-hour boardroom because all the judges and the players agreed that I was not going home. So I think that proves something, that I stayed so out of the clear getting eliminated. And I think I did that the best out of anyone. But yeah, it's based on what you guys respect. I can't predict a jury, and I'll respect your decision either way. But I think I played a social and strategic game worth mentioning and worth highlighting. Beyond that, I had a great game. 45 days, maybe 50 at this point, long. I made it. No matter the place, and I had a great time. I had probably one of my favorite games ever on Zwooper. I thank Mark a ton for putting all the effort and patience into this game. And I can't wait to see what happens at the end. Till next time, Connor is out.